unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court said, well, you really don't have standing to bring this because you need to have a member who is damaged. The organization itself can't bring the case. That was the basic holding. You don't have standing. And they threw it out. Okay, so when I filed the Kentucky Homeland Security case, I alleged American Atheists as a plaintiff and also 11 named plaintiffs who each said that they had been injured by feeling uncomfortable, headaches, sleeplessness, and so on. And I applied the thing, what did I say, that we are, people think that our government is run by
traitors and fools.
There's a third one.
Fanatics.
Fanatics, traitors, or fools. Tampa was really good here. I think that our government is ruled by fanatics, traitors, or fools. Which reminds me of another little maxim. If you let fools be your rulers, you will be ruled by fools. Simple, ain't it? There are lunatics running. There are people running around who believe the most bizarre things, who are permitted to vote and to sit on juries. And yet I've been told, Edwin, you're a coward, you should take these people on no matter what the ruling. Charge for the cannon, you know, the charge of the Light Brigade. You know what happens when you have lancers on horseback charging cannon?
They get shot.
They get the blood Jesus blown out of them. That's what happens. Now, if you think that's heroic, you know, go join some other outfit. I want to bring everybody back home if we can. You take cases you can win. The Supreme Court has recently ruled that a corporation is a person who can engage in political activity. Now, we can use that in our own thing. Remember I said the Heim case, the organization was thrown out because they needed individual plaintiffs. Well, in the Homeland Security case, we had the individual plaintiffs and the organization, and the judge, while ruling our way in favor of the individual plaintiffs, threw out American Atheists, you listening, on the grounds that in that we have people who claim injury, the organization doesn't have standing. That means that either way, the organization doesn't have standing. That cannot be the law. That simply cannot be the law. So when the Attorney General appealed the ruling on constitutionality, I cross-appealed on the question of the standing of American Atheists. All right. A recent case that has come up that has had an awful lot of attention and awful lot, there's some things that have more heat than light to them. This is the issue of the Ark Encounters project designed to be built in Grant County, Kentucky. You all know about the Ark Encounters project? Ark Encounters is, they say cooperation, I say conspiracy, between an outfit called Ark Encounters of Springfield, Missouri, and our old friends Answers in Genesis, who run the Creation Museum. What they plan to do is to build, quote, a full-size replica of Noah's Ark and a theme park there associated. In a way, I'm rather happy, since no one knows what Noah's Ark looks like, and now we'll know. The Bible, the book of Genesis, said it was made of gopher wood. Nobody knows what that is, so now we'll know. It's like a little girl in school. She was drawing a picture, and the teacher said, "What are you drawing, honey?" She said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." I said, but nobody knows what God looks like. The kid says, "In a few minutes they will when I finish." So there we have it, and the roofs are going in. The reason it's drawing all the fire is the Kentucky government, the same one who 96 represented 36 senators want the Commonwealth protected by Almighty God. They have granted to this project, what is the correct word, a rebate on the taxes. The way it works is as they collect sales tax, they send it into the state, and the state rebates it back to them. Well, wait a minute. Right. Now, let me tell you. They send them the sales tax, and the state rebates it back to them up to a certain amount. I'm not sure what that amount is. They can't shit. It doesn't sound awful. It sounds terrible to sue, right? Yeah, you bet. Okay. However, this law applies to any organization that is bringing tourism into Kentucky. And I must concede that these folks will bring tourism into Kentucky. The Creation Museum is crowded. The parking lots are full. They've had to expand the parking lots. Yellow bus loads of people coming in, the same buses that took them to watch the Passion for the Christ. And the Passion of the Christ, they go through and they are stunned by the Hollywood type. It's a very well-built place. You need to see it. It's worse than you think. And what's really scary is to see a family of little children and the mother saying, "See there, Johnny, your teacher doesn't know what they're talking about. This is how it happened." Ever wonder how the animals got from Mount Ararat? It doesn't say Mount Ararat, it says the mountains of Ararat, is what the Bible says. So if the ark lands on the mountains of Ararat, how did all the animals get to Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, things like that? Well, according to some very nice diagrams and dioramas, they walked across on floating logs from Lois. They actually have a barefoot and pregnant Eve in one of their dioramas. No, they really have a picture of it. And they have a dinosaur, a triceratops, at the end of the thing with a saddle on it. Children can get on and ride. To impress upon them that dinosaurs and people lived at the same time. They call dinosaurs missionary lizards. Isn't that cute? Okay, wouldn't we love to file a lawsuit on that tax rebate? Yes, we certainly would. Every fiber of our being wants to, and it takes every fiber of our being to say no. Why? Well, if people ask you these things, you can say certain stuff to them. Just like if they say that America is founded on Christian principles. No, it's not, because democracy isn't mentioned in the Bible. That's the end of the story. And you don't have to listen to that nonsense very much longer. The Bible is not the basis for morality. Why can't we sue them over this? If someone asks you, well, that is because, ask them if they have read the case, and it's a fairly complicated name. I want to read to you. It's called Arizona Christian School Tuition Organization versus Weiner, who is the guy paying out the taxes or something. And what this was a system whereby money was sent back to organizations for vouchers to send kids to religious schools. Tax credits for contribution to school tuition organizations where they went to Christian schools. Sounds unconstitutional, doesn't it? Well, the Supreme Court, by a vote of 5-4, said no, it wasn't. That there is a difference between a tax credit and the government giving the money out of the, taking the money from the tax treasury and giving it to the people. They said there's a difference. Justice Kagin knew on the court said no, there's no difference whatsoever in it. The Supreme Court says there is, and therefore there is. The Supreme Court may not be right, but it is final. A young lawyer was once arguing before the Supreme Court, and the Chief Justice says, she said, I don't think that's the law, counselor. The lawyer says it was before you said that, sir. They make the law. There's some humor. A young lawyer was arguing before Oliver Wendell Holmes, the great justice. Holmes looked at him and said, young man, you seem to have had a very rough night. Probably up all night, worried about this case. He says, yes, Your Honor, that's so. He says, probably you maybe drank beyond your capacity and having a headache and not just feeling awful days. And I confess, sir, that's right. Probably went out with a young woman and just were entirely become tired out and just wasted your resources. You really feel rotten. He said, yes, sir, I must confess that. So Holmes says, God, I envy you. Clever fellow. Okay, I don't don't want to paint too dire a picture. But I fear